discover. And in fact, again, later on in quite a few shows, I will be focusing a little bit on ghost hunts and some of the more interesting characters that can come out of the more haunted venues up and down the UK. And again, I might very well call upon you, the dedicated listeners, to tell me of some haunted stories in your neck of the woods. Share your stories on air. This would be a really fascinating experiment to see what is really out there. And I know Silk and Baz would very much agree with everybody here, in the sense that you've got quite a lot of interesting characters and a lot of fascinating aspects to really bring the true magic out of the woodwork. But again, more on that as we go further along. And in fact, Scott has just popped up in the chat room. Hey, sassy goth. Dudley was awesome. And in fact, he's addressed it to Sasha. Scott, I will pass on your message to her when I next see her. Anyway, I mentioned there was a few other characters that kind of crop out of the woodwork sometimes on my weird and wonderful ramblings. And I should point out that I love each and every single one of you lovely night owls, including you, Johnny Summers, wherever you are. In fact, Johnny Summers, well, if it wasn't for him setting up this whole shebang with audioburger.com, I wouldn't be able to do my show now. But I hear he's also a little bit of a creature of the night. Some say he turns into a werewolf under the full moon. How true that is, I don't know. If anybody does spot Johnny Summers wandering about under a full moon in a very different guise, please let me know. It would be interesting to do a few spot sightings, in fact. Now, the guy who requested that Killing Joke track, Glitch, Daniel Ahern from Brighton. Now, I know Daniel of old. In fact, he is somebody who works alongside Sasha quite closely as a business partner. Now, I keep saying to him, well, Daniel, if you want to get the best out of Sasha, you'll have to get her to relax. She's not as open-minded as myself. In fact, she's too traditional, and he quite agrees with me. But as yet, he has never once got her to open up live on air. That's quite weird, this one. But he reassures me he'll keep working on her, although somehow I doubt it very much. She seems to spend time, a lot of the time, with a few other people at the moment. So much so, there's a lot being left on the sidelines. But I do know that he is a little bit of a creature of the night. In fact, he has been known to turn into the devil incarnate, although how true that is, I don't know. And yes, yes, there have been times where he has been a little bit more on the edge, somewhat. However, the edge of traditional, boring, well, whatever you care to call it. Whatever. I apologize to Daniel. He is a very interesting person, no doubt. However, I get bored with talking about certain creatures of the night when I could be focusing purely on other creatures of the night. In fact, so much so, we have the lovely Mirabar Joel, who is the resident poet at Brighton Arts Club, who is quite an interesting person in itself. Now, I should say that that Daniel's fascination with Killing Joke is quite worrying. More on that later. However, the wonderful Mirabar, he says, my favourite night creature is a creature called the Dreamweaver, because they have the ability to bring the subconscious into the conscious to inspire and help with spiritual growth. Ooh, now that is a complete show in itself, Mirabar. Well, The Dreamweaver, that could be taken either way. I mean, some say it's a goddess, some say it's a complete random person that has been concocted up by loads of different people. And yes, we all love the edge of danger, as a few people are constantly saying at the moment. We love all sorts of danger. We love mysticism. We love magic. We love absolute divine intervention. And talking of which, the next one that's coming up is dedicated to two people. Yassine Celestine in Brighton, who originally requested this track, and Simone Weeks, the lead singer of Simone Weeks and The Dark Stars. Now, this is a very special track. Those of you who know Nick Cave and the Seeds might know that he has recently released a new track. In fact, you might quite like this one. This is dedicated to you girls, and this is called Jubilee Street. Enjoy.
On Jubilee Street, there was a girl named Bee. She had a history, but she had no past. When they shut her down, the Russians moved in. Now, I'm too scared to even walk on past. She used to say, all those good people down on Jubilee Street, they ought to practice what they preach. Yeah, they ought to practice just what they preach. Those good people on Jubilee Street. And here I come up the hill. I'm pushing my wheel of love. I got love in my tummy and a tiny little pain, and a 10-ton catastrophe on a 60-pound chain. And I'm pushing my wheel of love up Jubilee streets. Look at me now. Problem was, she had a little black book, and my name was written on every page. Well, a girl's gotta make ends meet, even down on Jubilee Street. Out of place and time, and over the hill and out of my mind on Jubilee Street. These days I go downtown in my tie and tails. I got a fetus on a leash. I am alone now. I am beyond recriminations. The curtains are shut. The furniture is gone. I'm transforming. I'm vibrating. I'm glowing. I'm flying. Look at me now. I'm flying. Look at me now.
Oh, yes, and of course that was the wonderful Nick Cave and Jubilee Street. In fact, I've already got a few very interesting feedback from that particular track, especially from Simone Weeks, who I know is listening at the moment. In fact, she said he's very Lou Reed, and I have to say I very much agree with that, Simone. So yes, obviously a very good choice from both Yassine and Simone on that one. However, in the meantime, let's move on. I mentioned a certain Jack Chandler earlier in the show. Now, Jack at the moment is taking a small break from Audio Burger due to a few technicalities. But he is constantly listening in, and he says to me, Sassy Goth, can you please request this track? Because this song is very special for a certain lady and myself. Well, that certain lady, I might just persuade her to come on to the show, if she is in the mood to do so. But let's just say she's a very different creature of the night altogether. Take fortune teller and time traveler, possibly a bullshitter, and combine it together, and you have Ophelia. In fact, it's the same title as this next track. The wonderful Abney Park, a steampunk band from America, and of course, the aptly named title, Dear Ophelia.